Welcome back to another video, everyone. Today we're going to be seeing how Disventure Camp All-Stars would have went if there was randomized teams. So, as you see on your screen right now, the magenta team includes Ali, Gabby, Aiden, Connor, Jake, and James. The yellow team contains Alec, Hunter, Gret, Tess, Fiore, and Yule. On the teal team, it is Rhea, Ellie, Ashley, Lake, Miriam, and Tom. These teams were completely randomized, and I wrote a script on how the season would have went if the teams were randomized. The order gets pretty crazy. So, if you're ready, go get your popcorn, get your soda, because this season will be an interesting one. Episode 1 basically plays out the exact same, only because there's not much you can really change. So we're going to go straight to episode 2. The episode starts with Hunter and Tess's parachutes landing. Hunter looks very excited that they both have yellow parachutes. Tess also looks excited, but Tess also looks worried because she knows that Allie is going to be very, very, very mad. It then cuts to Allie landing, seeing nobody by her side. Allie looks very disappointed, as Tess really predicted. Then it cuts to the teal team, with Lake and Tom walking together. Aiden also walks by Lake's side, because James is nowhere to be found, but Lake says, "Okay, Aiden, I know that you will find James. So, come on, Tom, I know we're on the same team, so let's go back to our camp." Aiden and Lake hug one last time. Aiden looks very disappointed, but hopes that him and James are on the same team. It then cuts to the yellow camp, with Gret sitting, Yule's arm around her, even though Yule does not like her. Alec then shows up to the camp and looks shocked. He sees that Tess and Hunter are already fixing up the tent. Alec looks confused. He says, "I wonder who else will be on our team." Hunter agrees, saying, "Yeah, bro. Hopefully it's no one like the cowgirl or the little girl." Gret interrupts Hunter a little bit, saying, "Well, if it's the cowgirl, I won't be too mad." Someone else then shows up at the camp. It's Fiore, the exact one Hunter did not want to be on their team. Hunter looks pissed. Tess looks shocked, and Alec has the biggest reaction. "Fiore, I didn't know you'd be here." Fiore says, "Well, after all of our little talk in the plane, hopefully maybe you won't have such a sad eye." Alec is extremely confused and is also a little happy. Alec has a confessional saying that Fiore being in their team could possibly make him go farther in the game. It then cuts the magenta team, with James and Aiden finally meeting at their camp. Aiden is so happy that they're on the same team. James picks Aiden's up in a big hug, saying, "Let's go, another season with us on the same team." Gabby then skips over to their camp, saying, "Oh my god, our team looks so good!" Connor and Allie then show up to the camp walking together. Because Allie got lost at their camp, Connor decided to comfort her. "And we're here too." James's face dies down a little bit, knowing that maybe their team isn't as good as they thought. As soon as they say that, they see Jake pull up to the camp too. Aiden and James both look happy because they don't have any beef with Jake. Sorry guys, my script is very glitching right now. So yeah, that happens at the magenta team. Then it cuts back to the teal team with Rhea pulling up to their camp. Ashley and Lake are already at their camp with Tom by Lake's side. Rhea rolls her eyes, saying, "Oh my god, did I really get stuck on the loser team?" Ellie then follows from the direction behind her, saying, "Yeah, it is a loser team with you on it." Everyone looks at Ellie very mad, because after Ellie's interviews, people aren't too happy with her. Miriam then walks right behind Ellie, saying, "Ellie, your interviews weren't too nice, dear." Ellie says, "Shut up, old woman. I have to do what I have to do." Miriam replies, saying that, "Oh, well, I beat you last season, so I don't want to hear anything." Tom giggles a bit. Tom is so happy that Miriam's on their team. "Miriam, come sit next to me." Okay, dear. So they all sit next to each other besides Rhea, who is standing by a tree. Rhea's not very happy that she's on the team of quote-unquote nerds. It then cuts back to the yellow team, where Hunter and Alec are tending to the fire. Tess is sitting near Hunter, but not helping with the fire. Yule is sitting near Gret, and Fiore is sitting alone. Alec says, "You have any experience making flyers, Hunter?" Hunter replies saying, "Yeah, Allie plays a lot of games, and sometimes she likes to go camping and pretend she's in the game, so sometimes we tend to fires." Hunter then replies saying that he's sad that he's not on Allie's team. Tess comforts him by saying, "It's okay, Hunter. I'm sure she's doing okay." It then cuts to the magenta team, where Gabby, Aiden, James, and Jake are all talking together. Allie and Connor are kind of on the outs of the team since they are the outsiders. Everyone on the magenta team is either really good friends or bad enemies. Same goes with the teal team. It then cuts to Crystal saying that the first challenge is about to commence. Crystal then gets everyone and goes to the sand. She explains that the first challenge is going to be a football-themed animal challenge. Gabby looks very happy hearing the word animal. And everyone else just smiles softly. But, of course, the more villainous people just have their normal look. Crystal then explains that both teams will have tacklers and runners. On the teal team, the runners are Rhea, Ellie, and Ashley. On the yellow team, the runners are Alec, Hunter, and Gret. And on the magenta team, the runners are Allie, Gabby, and Aiden. And the tacklers on the teal team are Lake, Miriam, Tom. Yellow team, Tess, Fiore, Yule. And on the magenta team, Connor, Jake, and James. The challenge starts and Gabby says that she wants to go for the big animals because she knows that she can control them. Allie doesn't disagree, and neither does Aiden. On the yellow team, Alec and Hunter talk, and Gret is like, "Why did you guys choose to be runners if you're bigger guys and you could be good tacklers?" They both say that they need strong runners to pound through the more weaker tacklers. Gret agrees. On the teal team, Ellie goes for the smaller animals, while Ashley grabs one of the horses. Rhea lazily grabs an animal knowing that she does not want to be there. And at the end of the day, the magenta team has the best tacklers, and the teal team has the best runners. So, at the end of the day, the yellow team is losing this first challenge. At the yellow team camp, Alec, Gret, Yule, and Fiore all combined together. They're talking about how they think they have to work together for this vote, and they have to decide between Hunter or Tess. Gret says that she wants Hunter to go home because he'll be a bigger threat down the line. Alec tells her that Hunter's better in challenges and that we cannot think down the line right now. Fiore agrees with Gret, saying that Hunter's been really rude to her, and if we want to work together like this, Hunter's going to try to change someone's mind. Yule is also thinking that Tess should go home, because Tess is weaker than Hunter. While Hunter and Tess are thinking Fiore, but Tess isn't fully on Fiore. Tess wants Yule to go home, but Hunter wants Fiore because, quote-unquote, she's just a little girl. At the end of the day, they all go to the elimination ceremony. The votes come down to this. Alec votes for Tess to go home. Gret votes for Hunter to go home. Fiore votes for Hunter to go home. Yule votes for Hunter to go home. Hunter votes for Fiore to go home. And Tess votes for Fiore to go home. Meaning that Hunter was the first boot of Disventure Camp All-Stars. This is really crazy and very different from the original order. This is why I think this would be crazy. Hunter was an early boot in All-Stars, but he was nowhere near the first boot. So, now we have to move on to episode 2. Episode 3 starts in the middle of a thunderstorm. Ashley and Lake are near each other, giving each other warmth in the cold rain. Tom is sitting near Miriam, who is still sleeping. Ellie and Rhea are sitting on opposite sides of the tent, both seeming awkward. Rhea doesn't like her team because no one is as villainous as she is. The closest person she has on this team is Ellie, but they even haven't talked. Lake makes the funny jokes, asking Tom if he hopes that Jake's okay. Tom laughs uncomfortably because he really misses Jake, but he can't show anyone. It then cuts to the magenta team showing Jake. Jake is looking a bit nervous, but he also looks awkward. He seems jealous looking at James and Aiden because James is holding Aiden. Aiden's scared of thunderstorms, and he always has been. His head is up against Jaden's chest because James is holding him. James whispers in Aiden's ear saying, "It'll be okay, baby." Aiden seems a little very, very scared, and they just hold each other. Connor is sitting near Allie. They've gotten really close to each other from the past couple days, but Gabby's actually not in the tent. She is out in the forest looking for wood. Because of the rain, the wood supply has been very low, and she wants to get wood before the other teams do. It then cuts to the yellow team. Tess ends up going out to go into the forest because she is going to go look to see if there's any wood. While she's walking, she seems to tear up a bit. She knows that her life in this game is going to a bare minimum. Gret then walks up to the forest with Tess. Tess seems very sad still, but Gret comforts her. Tess tells her that she might need to get away from Yule. He doesn't always seem like the best guy to her. Gret starts getting really mad at Tess, saying, "You don't know what it's like having a boyfriend." Gret then storms off. Tess looks extremely disappointed. It then cuts to Crystal saying that it's challenge time. Each team will go into the lake and dive for 3 chests. So, they all dive into the lake. It cuts to the teal team in the lake. Ashley says that they should all split up to cover more ground, so they all go into groups of 2. Rhea will go with Ellie, Ashley will go with Lake, and Tom will go with Miriam. The yellow team all goes together, searching for the chest, and the magenta team splits up into groups of 2. The first group is Aiden, Jake, and James, and the second group is Connor, Gabby, and Allie. Whilst they are searching, the Cyan team all goes up together, talking about what they think they want to do, besides Miriam and Tom, who aren't with Rhea, Ellie, Ashley, and Lake. They all say that they want to do something in the game, but Ellie offers a special offer. Ellie wants to make a girls' alliance with these 4 girls, Rhea, Ellie, Ashley, and Lake. Lake immediately agrees, so does Ashley, because what could it hurt? But Rhea's the one who's really debatable. Rhea knows that this is a big opportunity, and she knows that if she does not join this alliance, then she doesn't have much other option. So she ends up joining, but she isn't really happy about it. It then cuts to the yellow team, who found their chest. Alec and Fiore both have lifted up, while Gret and Yule support them in the bottom. Tess is swimming on her own. They go up, and the yellow team wins the challenge. But now we have to see who will get second place. So, with the Cyan's team support, the Cyan team comes in second, because all the girls work together and they find their chest. So the yellow team and the Cyan team win this challenge, meaning that someone from the magenta team will be leaving. At their camp, James and Aiden are comforting each other. Allie goes up to sit next to Aiden, talking about who they want to vote out tonight. James tells him that Connor is the weakest link. Gabby also sits next to Aiden, saying that she doesn't want Connor to go home, and that maybe they should vote out Jake instead. Jake overhears from a distance and gets worried. Jake goes over to Connor, sounding worried that they're trying to vote, that those 4 people are trying to vote those 2 off. Connor seems concerned, but doesn't know if he believes him 100%. At the elimination ceremony, things don't always go to plan. So, with the votes, Jake ends up thinking to himself that maybe Connor isn't the best ally. While Gabby is trying to convince Allie that maybe she shouldn't vote off Connor tonight. So the votes end up coming down to this. Allie votes Connor. Gabby votes Connor. Aiden votes Connor. Connor votes Gabby. Jake votes Connor. James votes Connor. So by a vote of 5-1, Connor is the second boot of Disventure Camp All-Stars. Allie immediately feels regretful. Connor was the only person she had in this game, but if she would have voted him out, then she would have gotten closer with the better side of her team. Allie and Connor hug, and Connor goes to the bus of losers. Now hear me out. Whilst I was writing this, I didn't really know what to do with these teams. And I was thinking, because Aiden and James are on the same team this time, the whole fight between James and Jake would not have happened. So that's why I was thinking, Connor was the weakest link on the magenta team, and I do not think they would have voted off Allie or Gabby. So while I was writing it, I was thinking that maybe Connor would have been the better selection. So yes, Connor is eliminated in this episode. Now it's time for episode 4. Episode 4 starts at the Cyan team's camp. Rhea, Ellie, Ashley, and Lake, who are sitting together in the Girls' Alliance, are talking. Rhea mentions that if they want to get farther in the game, they have to decide between Miriam or Tom to vote out first. Lake says that they should vote out Miriam first. Ashley agrees. Ellie also agrees. But Rhea is suggesting that Tom would be a bigger threat in the merge. Ashley says that maybe that's true, but we're not focusing on the merge right now. Rhea then makes a mean comment to Lake, saying that she looks like an orphan girl. It kind of came out of nowhere, but it was still kind of rude. Rhea most likely said it because of what Lake said, and Lake said that Rhea's ideas usually don't go very well. Lake storms off in sadness. Ashley says to Rhea, "Girl, you don't have to say that kind of stuff, man." Ellie looks at them shocked. Ellie has a confessional saying that, like season 1, she's trying not to get into much of the drama this season. As Ashley follows Lake, Lake goes in one of the boats and starts crying. Ashley says that they should go fishing to calm down. Lake asks Ashley how she's so kind and how she always stays so positive. Ashley then says that she's not always sunshines and rainbows. Ashley then tells Lake the story that she told Jake in episode 4 about the farm fire. They get closer to each other that way. It then cuts to Alec going to everyone's camps talking about the Villains Alliance. Alec then meets up with the following people. Alec grabs James from the Magenta team. He grabs Gret, Fiore, and Yul from his team. And then from the Cyan team, he grabs Ellie. They all meet up and they talk about... on the Cyan team, Alec grabs Ellie and Rhea. Alec then meets up with all of his people at the beach and he talks about a Villains Alliance idea. We should make a Villains Alliance. Rhea is very skeptical about it. She has her Girls Alliance, but she doesn't even care about that alliance, and neither does Ellie really much anymore. Ellie agrees. The only person who's not really agreeing is James. James asks Alec why he brought him here if James isn't really that big of a villain. Alec says that he needs someone from the Magenta team and you're the most villainous out of all of them. Ellie asks Alec why he didn't just bring Gabby because Gabby's my girlfriend. Alec says because Gabby will snitch and Gabby has a big mouth. Ellie looks very mad at Alec for talking bad about her girlfriend. Alec also says that James has a lot of connections with a lot of people and that this will help them a lot. James is very skeptical about it because he doesn't want to go against his boyfriend. Neither does Ellie wanting to go against her girlfriend, but everyone else is on board. So everyone ends up agreeing and the Villains Alliance is formed. Crystal then announces that the next challenge is about to commence. The challenge plays out as usual. And the team that wins is the Yellow team and the Magenta team. At the Cyan's team camp, they want to know who they want to vote out. The Girls Alliance are still thinking about which one out of Miriam or Tom they should vote out. Miriam and Tom have no idea what the Girls Alliance are up to, and they don't even know the Girls Alliance is a thing. Tom then goes up to Lake, who seems very nervous that Tom is going to crack her case. But they end up just talking about fishing supplies. The tribal council commences, and the girls go extremely as planned. Ellie was trying to think if her and Rhea could do anything to help the Villains Alliance more, but Alec wanted a specific person out, and it was Miriam. Miriam kept trying to be weird with Alec, saying things like, "You're lying to Jake." She's talking about how in the first challenge, Alec was telling Jake about how Aiden and Tom kept looking at each other during the challenge. Jake kept reassuring Alec that they're on different teams, so that couldn't be true. Alec keeps saying the same things, and Miriam's getting really mad at him. Alec's also very threatened by Miriam because he thinks that she's going to slide her way to the end again. So, at the end of the day, Rhea and Ellie convince the Girls Alliance to vote for Miriam. So the votes end up coming down to 4-2, 4 votes for Miriam, and 2 votes for Rhea. Miriam is voted out. Tom is extremely confused about what happened, but he knows that something's up. Miriam tells Tom something. Miriam whispers Tom's ear this: "Make a note. Tell the teams about this alliance I overheard." Turns out, Miriam overheard them making the Villains Alliance. Tom nods his head very scarily. So, the episode ends, Miriam gets on the bus of losers, and now it's time for episode 5. Episode 5 starts when the Cyan team is walking back from the elimination ceremony. Tom is walking by himself, but all the girls are ahead of him. Once they get back to the camp, Tom immediately starts working on the notes that Miriam told him to do. It then cuts to Tom giving notes to all the camps, and then it's morning time. The first team that wakes up is the yellow team's camp. Fiore finds the note first and tells Alec. Alec then throws the note away because he does not want Tess to see it. So the yellow team never even finds out about the note. Then it's the magenta team. Since there's really no one on the magenta team, no one really believed it. But Jake read the note. The note read, "Be aware of the Villains Alliance. It includes Alec, Gret, Fiore, Yule, Rhea, Ellie, and James. If you're reading this, then that means me, Miriam, was voted out at the last elimination ceremony." Jake's face immediately drowned. No, it can't be. Aiden told him that the note was probably fake because James would tell him if he was in an alliance. James's face turns red while he goes, yeah, I would tell you, baby. James then hugs Aiden, telling him that he would never betray him like that. It then cuts to Crystal at the tent with Derek, Trevor, Emily, and the puppets. Crystal says that she hid this special idol called Steal a Vote Advantage. She hid it somewhere around the camp. And she says whoever can find it will have a huge advantage in this game. And anyone would want to find this idol. And instead of Tom giving the Cyan team a note, he just pulls Ashley and Lake to the side and tells them. Ashley and Lake do not know if they would 100% believe it, because they believe that they can trust Rhea and Ellie. Tom then reminds them of their really villainous background, and then they start believing him. Ashley reassures that maybe they're villainous, but who knows if they're villainous this season. Lake says that he doesn't trust Tom and that the girls wouldn't do something like this. Ashley tells Lake that that's not true and they would 100% do something about this. It then cuts to Gret and Yule walking in the forest. Gret is trying to find Yule, but Yule is in the tent with Emily. Emily is telling him that he's losing fan popularity and that he has to get Gret and look like they're a perfect couple. Yule doesn't like Gret, but Gret thinks that they're dating. Gret eventually finds Yule in the forest, and Yule has his microphone in his ear, and Emily is telling him everything he needs to say. It's a very fake conversation, but Yule gives Gret flowers. Gret has a confessional saying that she believes everything, and that she thinks that Yule's just the perfect boyfriend. Yule then has a confessional saying that he does not want to be with Miss Piggy, but he needs his popularity to be up. It then cuts to the magenta team. James has a confessional saying that he doesn't like lying to his boyfriend, but he knows that if it gets him farther in the game, then maybe Aiden will trust him. James also says that he's going to tell Aiden later down the line, but he just can't tell him right now. It then cuts to Crystal saying that it's challenge time. She explains that this challenge will be a triathlon. So, this is how it'll work. Each team will have a certain amount of members going for the bikes. There will be a bike, there will be a cliff dive, and there will be a final race. For the magenta team, the bikers are Jake and Aiden. The divers are Allie and Gabby. And the runners is James. For the yellow team, the bikers are Gret and Yule. Jumpers are Fiore and Alec, and the runner is Tess. For the cyan team, the bikers are Lake and Ellie. The divers are Rhea and Ashley, and the runner is Tom. So, they all go, and it goes pretty well. But the villains team is sabotaging any chance they get to make sure that the target they want out gets out of the game. And their target is Lake. So, whilst they are running, Tom knows that Tess did not get that envelope. So he knows that while it's the final race to the finish line with Tom, Tess, and James, he knows that he has to tell Lake. And he knows he has to tell Tess. James is trying to stop him from saying anything because he can overhear him from a distance. So, Tom shouts out really loud, "There's a villains alliance! Don't trust your team!" James dives over to Tom and wrestles him. "Don't say anything! What are you?" Tom gets really mad at James. "Get off me! No! You cannot do this!" They start getting into a big fight. But Tess, she gets to the finish line and wins for her team. The Villains Alliance is going to be pissed at James. It would have been such an easy vote if they would have just gotten the yellow team to lose. Damn it! James punches Tom in the face one last time and sprints to the finish line. Damn it! Tom says. The cyan team loses the challenge and they have to vote someone out. At the camp, Tom is trying to convince Ashley and Lake who to vote out. But Ellie and Rhea know that it'll be a 3-2 vote. So they try to manipulate the girls by spreading them out. If they can't talk before the elimination zone, then they will not know who to vote. So, what I didn't know was that there was an idol at the camp. This idol was called the Vote Steal Idol. And one of the campers this season will get it. And it just happens to turn out that Rhea got this steal vote advantage. So, at the elimination zone, they have to figure out who to vote out. And the Villains Alliance members know that the Girls Alliance do not trust them anymore. So the votes end up coming down to this. Rhea steals Ashley's vote, votes for Lake twice. Ellie votes for Lake. Lake votes for Ellie. Tom votes for Ellie. So the vote comes down to 3-2, and they all think that Lake is out. They all think that Ellie is out of the game. But it turns out Rhea has his vote steal advantage, and Lake is out of the game. Ashley drops to her knees and starts tearing up a bit. I don't believe it. Lake goes up to Ashley and gives her a big hug. It's okay. At least you believe with attitude. These two villains do not deserve the money. They deserve to give up their mullahs for a cash prize. Rhea tells her, well, maybe don't be so dumb next time, loser. Ashley says, you two are wicked! Ashley and Lake hug one last time. Tom says that he's so sorry. Tom hugs Lake. Lake tells him, just tell Ethan and James I said bye. But this isn't like James. I don't know why he would do this. Maybe because he wants to win, says Rhea. Ellie smiles at Rhea, but she doesn't really like being this wicked. But she knows it'll get her farther. So, they all hug one last time, and Lake goes to the bus of losers. While they're still at the elimination zone, Rhea and Ellie sit on one side, Ashley and Tom sit on the other. Well, I guess it'll be 2 against 2 from now on, and we all know which duo's stronger. Ashley and Tom get closer together. Yeah, it's us, and you two are gonna go! So, that's it. Now it's time for episode 6. Well, before I move on to the next episode, I just wanted to say that I'm extremely sorry that Lake's episode was extremely rushed. I was sick whilst I was writing it, and I guess I thought that made sense. But I'm sorry if it was rushed, but that was the order I had originally thought of anyways. So I'm just super sorry, but let's move on to the next episode. So this episode starts with Alec, Gret, Fiore, and Mule talking at their camp. They're talking about how they're mad that they couldn't get Tess out of the game. Gret says that they don't really need Tess out of the game right now because they can just keep going strong as they're going. It then cuts to the Magenta team. Aiden and James are sitting close together. Aiden and Jake get into an argument about something. Gabby is looking very disappointed in her team. She wants her team to be united, but they're not being very united right now. In the challenge, which is a musical challenge, the science team still actually does not sing Piggyback because there's not enough people for Ellie to think of the Piggyback idea. So most likely they would think of any other thing. The yellow team would still do no matter how hard we try, and the magenta team would still do Born to Drive Me Crazy since it still has Allie and Jake, which are the main people, and Hunter's gone, and Tom is still here like the original. So, do I think Rhea would burn down the stage in this version? Actually, I don't. Because of the whole lighting thing, and maybe their song's more sad because that's what Ellie thought of, I don't think Rhea would be taking control. Meaning that the light would never burn and the stage would never burn down. Instead, I think actually the magenta team would go home. Because if we can compare the songs, we all know which one's stronger between No Matter How Hard We Try and Magenta's. So I think the magenta team would lose. No matter what, the vote's most likely going to come down between Jake and Aiden. Because they're the most hated people on the team right now. The only person that's kind of with Jake right now is Gabby. She's kind of protecting him a little bit. And no matter what, during the vote, nobody really likes Jake. Aiden and James both don't like him. So most likely Jake would go home this episode. He has no one to protect him as much as Ashley did. And honestly, Gabby doesn't really care if Jake goes home. She still has her friend Allie. So, yeah, Jake goes home this episode. So, time for episode 7. Episode 7 starts off with the Villains Alliance, worrying about what their next move is going to be. Rhea says that she's proud that all of them have survived this long. Gret tells them that they're going to try to get out Tess and try to lose today's challenge. Rhea tells her that that's the ideal situation because that's the easiest vote for them. But Tom and Ashley overhear because they followed them to the Villains Alliance to prove that it was real. As they walked to the challenge, Tom and Ashley stopped Crystal of what she was saying and interrupted everyone. Tom says, "Sorry, Crystal, but before we do today's challenge, I just need to say something. Everyone who's not a part of that stupid Villains Alliance needs to work together to make sure that Tess is safe. Everyone needs to understand that this Villains Alliance is real. And Aiden, I understand that you do not think James would do something like this, but it is real, and y'all need to get all these villains out before it's too late." Ashley then repeats by saying, "Yeah, come on, y'all. If we don't get them out, then it's gonna be way too late, and we're all gonna be doomed." Crystal looks at them and says, "Okay, now let me get to my challenge." Aiden looks at James with bad concern. James' face turns bright red. Gabby and Allie both turn to James and look mad. The challenge begins, and they all roll their balls. During the challenge, the heroes find some way to help Tess. Ashley sabotages every team but the yellow team, meaning that she goes straight for the magenta team. The most ideal situation would be that the magenta team loses so that they can vote off James, but Aiden doesn't know for sure if he wants to do that. That's his boyfriend after all. But at the end of the day, the villains are fighting to make sure that the yellow team loses tonight. But since there's probably more effort, the heroes end up winning and taking over. It's a very close battle, but the magenta team loses as the ideal situation. At the magenta team's camp, there's a lot of discussion on who should be going home. Aiden does not want to vote his boyfriend, and he won't vote his boyfriend even if this villain's alliance is real. Aiden tries to convince James by saying, I don't know if this alliance is real, James, but don't trust the villains! You know you can't trust these people! James looks at Aiden and says, Baby, I'm telling you it's not real. Gabby walks up to the two and says, Listen, Aiden, you need to work with me and Allie. I understand, but your boyfriend's a fraud. Aiden replies to Gabby by saying, well, your girlfriend's a part of the alliance too, so what do you want me to do? You would never vote Ellie out. Gabby looks with a red face. But Ellie is... But... Oh. Gabby stutters. Gabby walks back over to Allie. James and Aiden have no idea what to do, but most likely this vote is going to come down in a tie. At the elimination ceremony, this is what the votes end up coming down to. James votes for Allie. He most likely did this because he doesn't want to vote his boyfriend, and he does not want to vote a member of his alliance girlfriend out. Aiden obviously votes with James and votes for Allie. Gabby votes for James, and Allie votes for James, meaning that it is a tie. Meaning that Allie and James have to go through a tiebreaker. Obviously, James wins the tiebreaker, and Allie is eliminated. Gabby and Allie hug, and Gabby walks Allie to the bus of losers. Allie tells Gabby to watch out for these stupid villains. Gabby tells Allie that Gabby's most likely next, but that she's gonna try hard. Allie and Gabby hug, and Allie reassures herself, I'm gonna do it for you, Allie. I'm going to win. Allie tells her how Gabby's gonna move on knowing that her girlfriend's on this alliance. But Gabby doesn't say what Allie thinks Gabby's gonna say. Gabby says something weird. Gabby says this, It don't matter. I'm going to get on the villain's alliance and help everyone destroy the heroes! Allie immediately moves away from Gabby. Allie says, You're weird. You're cruel, Gabby. Defeat the villains. Gabby stops Allie in her tracks. I not defeat the villains. I help the villains. Allie tells her to tell that Tess said goodbye. Allie says before she leaves, I know this isn't you, Gabby. I wanted to win this game, but I couldn't. But you can still win with you intact. Don't try to be someone you're not just for someone you love. I've learned that the hard way. Allie says to Gabby again, tell Tess I said bye, and Allie leaves Disventure camp. It's now time for the space episode. In the space-themed episode, I didn't have much planned for this episode. Most likely, something was going to go wrong with one of the teams, and one of them was going to go home. But here's my thoughts. The yellow team is a very strong team. They have a really good team, and I just can't see any of them completely leaving the game. So I couldn't really tell between, out of all the campers remaining, who could go home. The yellow team seemed the most likely, but you're going to you're going to see who I decided, because I'm going to give you my explanation on what happens. During the challenge, bad things start to go down, but on the magenta team is probably where the worst things are going down. Gabby is trying to convince Aiden that James is bad. James is trying to convince Aiden that he's not bad. But Gabby has a secret in mind. Gabby sneaks off from her team, telling her team that she's going to go look for some kind of clue. But she actually sneaks to the yellow team's camp. She does that. Not the yellow team's camp, the yellow team's little place in the ship. And she tells them that she wants to join the Villains Alliance with her girlfriend Ellie and all those. They seem a little skeptical at first, but Gret reminds Alec that numbers are key in the game. Alec agrees, but he's not too thrilled about it. Gabby is officially part of the Villains Alliance. Gabby tells the Villains Alliance that maybe they shouldn't have James because he's not as loyal as the rest. Alex sort of agrees, but Gret reminds him numbers are key. During the challenge, both the magenta team and the yellow team work together a bit. Besides the fact that Aiden is not trying to work with the yellow team, and James is still trying to convince Aiden that he's not a part of the Villains Alliance, but he also needs to help his Villains Alliance. The magenta team ends up doing not so good in the challenge, but so does the cyan team. The cyan team is basically there's 4 teams. Because there's the magenta team, the yellow team, one half of the cyan team, and the other half of the cyan team. Rhea and Ellie sleep in the tent. Tom and Ashley build wood and sleep in their own little bunker in the forest. So, the team is really split. And overall, teamwork didn't really work out here. So, the cyan team loses this challenge. The yellow team is really scared on what's going to happen. But Tess is really joyed. She doesn't understand how she keeps sliding by all these eliminations. She notices that Allie's gone and gets really sad, but she knows she has to push through this game because she knows she'll be leaving pretty soon if she doesn't keep trying. She thinks this might be some kind of coincidence how she keeps slipping by, but she's not going to complain about it. At the cyan team's camp, Ashley and Tom are trying to figure out what to do. They know they can't get to anyone's side on the team, and they know it's going to have to come to a tiebreaker either way. Ashley tells Tom that he must do the tiebreaker because he's stronger than both of those girls on the other side. During the elimination, obviously the girls vote Tom because he's the stronger competitor. Ashley and Tom realize that Rhea is the weaker out of the two. But what you didn't see is that maybe that's what they think, but Tom ended up convincing Ashley that he can beat either of those girls, and Ellie's the stronger competitor. So let's try to go for Ellie, because she's the stronger out of the two when it comes to the Villains Alliance. And it'll crumble a lot of the Villains Alliance off, because Gabby will be sad, and she won't have enough strength as she needs. Because now everyone knows, as it's public information, that Gabby is a part of this Villains Alliance. But yet again, Aiden doesn't know, because Aiden doesn't know shit in this game. Let's just be for real. So at the elimination, to no surprise, Ellie and Tom have to go through a tiebreaker competition. And Ashley and Tom's plan works. Ellie loses the competition, and Ellie is out of the game. Rhea's really pissed off at Tom and Ashley. She says, "I cannot believe you losers won." Rhea walks Ellie out. Rhea says, "I'm not usually a very sad person, but we needed you. I'm going to get voted out if I don't figure something out." Ellie tells Rhea to protect Gabby. She also tells her to give her something. Ellie hands Rhea something that will help Gabby in the game. Rhea says, what's the thing you're trying to hand me?" Ellie hands Rhea the hidden immunity idol. She says, "Give this to Gabby." I didn't know which one of us two would have gone, but if I would have used my immunity idol for nothing at that ceremony, I would have been ashamed I wouldn't have used it. So give this to Gabs for me. Rhea almost looks like her old self again. "Ellie, why would you do this?" "Because Gabby's the only person I have, and I feel bad for lying to her." Ellie nods her head, tells Rhea one more time to give it to Gabby, and Ellie's out of the game. Tom and Ashley are celebrating at the camp while Rhea walks back from the bus of losers. Rhea has a confessional saying that she knows it's Ellie's wishes, but at the end of the day, Rhea's a villain, and she's keeping this idol to herself, and she's not giving shit to Gabby. Episode 9 starts at the Teal Team's camp. Ashley and Tom are sitting together, wounding to the fire, and Rhea's sitting alone in the tent. She looks at the immunity idol, a little bit disappointed in herself. But she knows it'll get her farther in the game, so she keeps the idol. It then cuts to the yellow team. All four that are part of the Villains Alliance are together, but Tess is alone. Tess has yet again another confessional saying how she's shocked that she's still here. She knows that her luck's gonna wear out soon, but she thinks that since most seasons the merge has happened at the final 10, if she can just survive this one elimination ceremony, she can make it there, and she has her own game she can play. It then cuts to the magenta team. Gabby's alone. Aiden and James are together. James looks at Aiden with a little bit of concern. He's a little disappointed in himself. It then cuts to Crystal saying it's challenge time. During the challenge, I think overall that the yellow team and the cyan team would win the challenge, meaning that the magenta team would be at the elimination ceremony. I only think this because the yellow and cyan team are way stronger. At the elimination ceremony, Aiden is almost certain that James is going to vote Gabby, and it's just going to be easy. But the votes come down to this. Aiden votes for Gabby, Gabby votes for James, and James votes for himself. Aiden is confused. James, why would you do this? James walks up to Aiden and smooches him in the mouth. Aiden, I do not think this game is doing good for me. I'm turning into the person I was. I want you to win this game for me, baby. James kisses Aiden. Aiden cries. James, why would you do this? I don't understand. It's only for you. I felt as if I was hurting you, and you meant more to the game than the game did. They hug one last time. Aiden tells him that he'll be strong, but he shouldn't have done this. James kisses him one more time, and James leaves Disventure camp. While I was writing this, I didn't know how to find a way. Overall, this isn't really even a team scramble. It's almost like a my way as well. But it's as if the teams were like this. I didn't know what to do, but I knew realistically Gabby would have gone home. But I wanted to think of something to where Aiden would have gone home. But since Gabby was the highest and she was the only person on this team I didn't want to go home, and it also would have been too obvious, that's also why I didn't make Tess go home this episode. Because realistically, I should have. But the reason why I didn't is because it would have been too easy of an elimination, and Odd Nation cartoons wouldn't have done that. So, I think James voting for himself to sacrifice for Aiden would have made more sense. Also, I don't think James would have voted off Aiden or anything, so I think this would have made more sense. Also, I do not think Aiden would have sacrificed himself for James. But James, I wanted James in the game more than I wanted Aiden in the game, but this just made more sense, because I did not want to send Gabby home yet. So, yep, and now it's time for the merge! Episode 10 starts off, and the campers find out that it's merge time. Crystal tells them, and they all go to the same camp. New bonds and relationships immediately start to form. Ashley gets along with almost everyone besides the Villains Alliance, and Tess has a lot more people that she has. Everyone in the game knows right now that the Villains Alliance is real. So, Tom and Ashley get everyone together. They get Tess, Aiden together. But they also gather one more extra person. The person they gather is Gabby. Now listen, Tom talks to Gabby, and he basically says, Gabby, this isn't you. Leave this stupid alliance and join our force. Gabby seems a little skeptical. But this what Ellie would want from me. Tom reassures Gabby that this is not in fact what Ellie would want. Tom and Gabby are really good friends outside of this game. Tom might know what's best for her. Gabby's thinking about what she should do, but even if Gabby did join the forces, it would still be 5 versus 5, meaning that any vote that they did would come down to a tie. Another relationship that starts to form is Ashley and Aiden. They start to really get along. Aiden grieves to Ashley about how she's sad. And that's basically that. Aiden grieves to Ashley about how he's sad, that's what I meant to say. And how he said that James is gone and that he shouldn't have done what he did. Ashley reassures Aiden that James just did a good deed and do not be disappointed in what he did. At the challenge, Tess feels so relieved. She actually has people she can trust and talk to. Tom really looks up to Tess. She survived so many eliminations. Tess also talks to Tom about how Tom is such a great influence on the team. At the end of the day, Alec wins immunity, meaning that someone will be going home. It's gonna have to be the villains versus the heroes, and the votes come down to a lot. The villains don't really know what to do, but they also have a plan that they just formed. Tom does not know if Gabby's going to 100% vote with the heroes, and the votes end up coming down to this. Gabby doesn't know who to vote because she doesn't know who to trust, so she just throws her vote out there and votes for Yule. She doesn't know who she's going to have to vote for. All the heroes decided on voting out Alec, and all the villains voted Tom out of the game. I thought that this would have made more sense than Ashley. Tom is a way stronger player, and at this point in the game, Tom would be holding the heroes together. Gabby starts to cry. She stands up and tells the villains that she's not working with them anymore. Tom forgives Gabby, and they hug because Tom doesn't hold grudges like that. Tom tells her that he will work things out with Jake because that's what she's been telling him. They hug, and Tom gets sent out of Disventure Camp All-Stars. The next episode is actually something different. There's actually going to be 2 returning players. So that means this episode is going to switch with episode 11. I know this was just supposed to be a team scramble, but it's turned more into a my way at this point. So yeah, this episode is actually the Capture the Flag episode.
The episode starts with both the villains and the Heroes Alliance trying to pull Gabby in. The villains don't even really need Gabby since they're already, 5-3. So the heroes need Gabby more than anyone. What they're planning at this point in the game is to find a way to get out the rest of the heroes. That's the villains' plans. So, during the Capture the Flag episode, the Villains Alliance just sabotages the heroes almost the whole time. Gabby helps the heroes because she is going to help them and not those stupid villains. So, that's what she does. She helps those heroes. Ashley and Tess make a plan and try to get Aiden to talk to Gabby. Tess tells Ashley that she should talk to her, but Ashley says that Aiden's someone who is really good to talk to. Aiden agrees and he talks to Tess. Somehow, Fiore overhears them talking and they get pissed at Aiden. Fiore tells the villains, and when Alec wins immunity again, the votes are almost unanimous. Because Gabby is officially a part of the heroes for the most part, she votes for Rhea. The rest of the heroes also vote for Rhea. But then all the villains vote for Aiden because Aiden's trying to pull people along. So, everyone is shocked and that's a part of the heroes. Gabby's confused. Why would they pick off Aiden even though he's probably the weakest in her opinion? Rhea says that he's the only one making an effort and that because he's making an effort, he should go home. All the villains cackle maniacally, and Aiden says his goodbyes. He hugs Ashley and Tess in a big group hug. Gabby once again drops down to her knees and says she's failed as a person. Aiden grabs her and says, "You did not fail as a person, Gabs. You are turning like the stupid heroes aren't. At least you're making an effort to be a good person, Gabby." Gabby smiles, and they hug, and Aiden leaves. Episode 13 is episode 12 is the comeback episode. But you're going to have to wait for that, because that will be in the next video. This only covered episodes 1 through 11. So, I'll see you in the next video. If you watch this one, please go watch the other one. Goodbye!